To Best Whole New World. Today on Following Your Bliss with Risaria Langley, we are talking about, what are we talking about? Roles.
Roles and role play.
We are having an improvisation class. No.
Yes, it was an exercise I did in a damsels meeting, and they got us to write down what roles we have in our lives.
Mhm.
And last year, I suddenly realised that all the roles I thought of, like wife, mother, have changed completely because I'm not a wife anymore.
Right.
And as a mother, because my children are now 30 and 31, and my daughter's in America and my son's in Singapore, I have a very different relationship with them. I don't need to look after them. In fact, they're being very generous and helping me, which is amazing. It's like I'm going, oh, that's really lovely. Thank you. And in fact, it happens to be my daughter's birthday today. And
Happy
um,
birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
happy birthday, Bridget. And I was angsting about what to get her. And in the end, I thought it's okay. I just wish her happy birthday, and I've sent her a little something. And I posted. It won't get there for today, but it's in the post. But I know she's okay with it, and it's learning to let go those roles and look at the new ones we want in our lives.
And
And
that's a great one, new ones, because we've just been joined by Diana Harrison, who is a mom role. So she's totally got three wonderful kids. But looking at new roles, because that goes with the new vision, right, that everybody's thinking about this year.
yes, and I think it's important because it took me a while when the children were young to remember to nurture myself and actually be a mother to myself. To look after myself, and so now I'm focusing on looking after myself more, and what I eat, and it's that thing about enjoying what you're doing. Now I don't have these labels of healthy or unhealthy or good or bad foods.
Right.
I just throw those out the window.
Yeah, because it's to me, it's if eating brings you joy, and
Yes.
actually, when you say that, so I did. I had brownies last week. They were like a whole container that I brought home, and I was like, you know what? I haven't done this since I was like a teenager or young
Yeah.
adult, and I just took the container. I said, this is going to be my indulgence all day long.
Yeah.
And with every spoonful, I was like, this is just so decadent. This is great.
and it's great, and it's it's like what did I buy? I bought something. I can't even I bought some ice. Was it ice cream? I bought a dessert.
Mhm.
Oh, it was a raspberry tart,
Right.
and it was so delicious. And I just thought, actually, this is all I want for my tea. I just ate this raspberry tart, and it's good, and it felt good. And it's not about it labeling it any one thing. It was good, nutritious food, and it gave me such pleasure.
So I think when we're talking about roles, then there's a role, not only mother, a career supporter, businesswoman,
Yeah.
mompreneur. I'm doing a mompreneur show, Mom on a Mission, with as a guest after this. One of the roles we do play is like we're like a critic because we're busy criticizing what's good for us or what's not good for us,
Mm.
and it's a sub role, but really in some cases in some people's lives it is the bigger role.
And I was always sort of criticizing and editing. I mean, at school we were taught to be critics of everything we wrote. And now I heard the saying from Abraham Hicks that there is no such thing as constructive criticism, and it was just like a light bulb exploding in my head. I thought, of course, because when you think you're being constructive, you're actually still looking at finding fault.
Yeah. My
And
youngest Faith she was going out, she's got this full day, she started her a new business, and one of the things she just said to me, she goes, because I said, oh, maybe you might want to say it this way, right? Like, and she said, Mom, she referred back to a movie I didn't know. She said, it's all about improvisation and role playing. I didn't realize she said that until now, that she said it's improvisation and role playing. So if you're doing that, you want to say yes, and she goes, yes works so much better for me. And then I was like, yes, the and, you're doing a great job. Yes, and so for the last hour, I've just been going, yes. And out the door she's gone, but I realized that feels different for me because, like you said, I'm giving up the mom role. She knows what she's doing. She's trusting her inner guidance and following her path and her dreams. And I've got to check the language and be the supportive person.
Yes, that's it. And for me, it's also not being attached to having to speak to my children every day or every occasion, because I'm not sure what my daughter's doing this week, but we've arranged a call for the weekend. So that's when I'll celebrate her birthday with her. And so it's a movable feast. And I think sometimes we can find it difficult to accept that, but I just take great pleasure in those moments I have with them. And also the relief that I don't need to plan her party. I don't have to come up with something original and different. I'm thinking, yeah, because I used to really enjoy doing that, but sometimes I'd go, oh, is this enough? And it's that you're taking on that role where you're thinking you're not enough. Yeah. And I had a big breakthrough this month about my relationship with money, and I feel I'm appreciating the skill I have with money now. And it's that thing of knowing I am enough, I have enough, when you focus on that vibration, because I'd always been counting the money and allocating it to different pots. Mm-hmm. Sort of, this goes on the house, this goes on food, this goes on. And so, of course, you can keep going on that. So it's infinite. So you've spent everything before it's in the bank. Right. Whereas now I'm looking at what's in the bank, and I'm not looking at it on a daily basis. I only look when I'm feeling really abundant and appreciative. And I'm paying for a course, which I'm really, really getting a lot out of. And I thought I'd need to get a job to pay for it. And I thought, actually, I'd really like to just pay for it effortlessly. And I got a letter from the bank today, and I opened it, and I've got enough money in the savings to pay for it.
There you go. See? Surprise, surprise.
Yes. And I just thought, yes, this is effortless.
Well, I think it's so important that you say effortless. But I would even encourage people to say easily, because yes. Effortless still has the word effort in, right?
Spot on. With ease and flow. I love it to flow. Oh, I've gone all tingly since you said that. Just to ease and flow in my life.
Well, that's my specialty, right, Risaria? That's what I'm explaining, is when I do sessions with people, I think Faith said, she goes, you pick every single word. I just reflect it back. And so the person's totally aware of what their unconscious and their energy is saying. Yeah. And the words, like most people still use, I hear it all the time, like in the spiritual community, they go, they don't want to be powerless, right? And yeah. I'm like, okay, but power is still in there. You want to be powerful, right? Right. So what's an opposite? And it's a retraining and a holding of the present, so the energy shifts. So you got those tingles really quick.
Yeah. And one thing I like, I did a feminine power course about 6 years ago, and they said they'd actually realized that power is a more masculine word, and that the only alternative they could come up with that was feminine, and I don't know why they didn't use it, is magic, because feminine magic is where we have our power.
Yeah, I think there's still that whole old file relating to magic and women that relates back to witches,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that just gets triggered. And that's the idea, is everything that we speak about, if it has an attachment, like you're talking about being unattached, if it has an attachment to an old story, even if it's just in the universe, you can be pulling in that energy. So it's really making sure that your language is clear and of a high vibration, and then it flows. So, but magic is popping up everywhere. The
Yeah.
word, I see it. So,
And I think also it's transforming old memes. And that's why I feel the word magic is starting to change. And one of my friend and I, we have sort of film fests, get together and snuggle up under blankets and watch The Good Witch.
The Good Witch from Canada?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
We love The Good Witch.
So do my daughters and I. That's our time together.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Because that's a Hallmark film, and Hallmark, when they're asking for material in submissions, they say they don't want any sort of sci-fi, sort of supernatural stuff. But then at the very end, they say, but we like it, we're quite happy for a little magic. And so they're open to magic and time travel. And I think that is so great, because this is a mainstream channel and they're open to it.
Do you get the whole series in Britain?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
Yes, it's on Netflix. So I think there's one coming again soon. I hope so.
There is.
Yeah.
And yes, we do. It's like Faith was the one that introduced us to it, and then we're like, oh, this is so great, because this is how my kids grew up with their life, that believing that anything is possible, and that when people go, oh, I don't know how that's going to work, they go, it will work, just Faith is off to test drive her first car this morning. I mean, she's only 18, but she's like, oh, this is my first test drive. I'm so excited, right? And it's just the dealer. She said the dealer guy is like, can you do this? She's like, yes. You're 18. Yes. Just
Brilliant.
Yes, I haven't worked out all the fine details, but yes, it's working.
It's working. Yes, it'll work out, and that's it. It's having the belief and the expectation before it manifests is how it manifests. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not sure, Risaria, if you can see Diana's comments, but she's thoroughly enjoying this conversation. She's saying it's wonderful. Yes, so you go.
I haven't got any comments coming up.
Because it's on your phone. So I'm just letting. So she's giving you the cheering section here. She's in.
Great.
For anybody else that's watching too, thanks. But this is like just letting the conversation go, and it's about loving what you're doing and what role. So we've done the mom role, the critic role, the businesswoman role. What about that role?
Yes, and in fact, what came up for me was a year ago, I wrote film producer, and I'd always been putting writer, and it always felt a bit of a cop-out putting writer for me. And when I put film producer, it just felt so strong.
Oh.
And
feels good. And
I realized the producer thing is something that we do in our everyday lives. I was at a master class in LA for directors, and we had this really great director who suddenly said, right, now tell me a bit about yourselves. And the woman in the front row, he said, and what directing experience do you have? And she said, well, I'm director of a household of 3 children and a husband, and I do. And she was very clear of how she directed her family and her life. And I thought, yes, we often belittle ourselves in the things we do as women, because we say we're only a housewife, or only whatever, or just. Again, it's that vocabulary, saying I'm just this, I'm just that. And if you just stated, I am a producer, I am a director, and you can use that in your life. When I just moved my bookshelves into my room a couple of weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it suddenly felt, this is my studio. And I've started calling, when I go onto my computer, I'm in the studio. So no matter what I'm doing in relation to my business, whether I'm writing, whether I'm doing things within, contacting the investors or the film studios, I'm in my studio. And my son and my daughter, I said something about, I'm going back to my studio, and they said, "You've got a studio now?" Oh, hello, Diana. I've got one of your comments. You're a domestic goddess. Fantastic. And that's it. It's about owning it. And so I'm in the studio, and I'm a film producer, and things are happening. And I had a one-to-one with my mentor, and an hour after the call, I heard that we'd got 4 emails from the Chinese company about one of the projects I'm working on. So, it's believing and expecting before it happens.
Yeah, and I feel like if we took a moment and we just held that space and said, I am, right? And every person that's listening could just fill it in with what they are, right? What they're calling into being. There's a certain resonance, like when you said when you called yourself a producer versus the writer. When you become aware and it feels true, and that energy just almost calls you forth versus the sense that you have to navigate. That's where I feel where we're getting to, is realizing we just have to surrender and receive it, because it's already been prepared. All these desires we have in a sense are out there. Like everything in the universe is ever expanding, and you've got your choices, just like which website do you want to go on, or which Facebook page. like there's billions of people on this Facebook.
Yes.
And we connected, or we found each other, and that whole aspect it's unexplainable.
Yeah. It's powerful, and it's magic.
Yes, it's fabulous. So I am a domestic goddess, is what Diana has said. And I am. Wow. I am so many things. I'm the vision of 1 billion people being healed. So I have to personalize that a little bit. So that's why I say I'm a transformational catalyst. I'm an inner guidance mentor. I'm doing a series, Risaria, on what I actually do, to how to describe it, because there's so many things that
great
I'm a part of, but you've given me new thought here for the moment. So thank you.
And that's it, because the mentor I was working with said, you have to own the role, and just using the word isn't enough. It's feeling it within.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why positive affirmations didn't work for so many people, right? Because they're like, I am this, I am this, I'm this, but their whole feeling is like,
yeah.
I doubt it. I don't think you're going to get, like, they're tapped into this whole other realm of negative conversation, right? That whatever you want to call it. So, that's the point of what I love doing, is helping people break free from that. So feeling it and let that feeling pulling you, you are producing, and you've getting responses. So
yeah.
Anything else going on?
The whole thing is not about, I'm working more from inspiration, more and more. This is what I've been actively doing for the last few years, ever since I realized the difference between motivation and inspiration. Because motivation, I was often taking action to attempt to control the vibration, and it wasn't happening. It can work to a certain extent, but it really wears you out. It's not ease and flow.
No.
It's efforting.
Yeah. That's a tweetable, I think, Risaria. If you, I haven't done Twitter yet, really, but tweetable is efforting. Yes.
And you see, Twitter is efforting now, because last night at the cinema, they've got adverts on.
Really?
Twitter. And my friend said, yes, yes, they're losing popularity, but the politicians and certain people like Twitter.
Right.
So now they're having adverts, whereas the whole ethos of social media, like Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, was that it was an organic momentum,
Right.
and they never needed to advertise it. It
No.
just grew and grew, which
Hmm.
is funny that they actually make their money through advertising.
Well,
But
yeah.
but
I think of anybody that's directly having to advertise now, I feel that it's kind of um, it's an old model, right?
yes,
It's an old
yes,
model
it's
because
an old model. Yeah, yeah. And when I had the response to this after this call, it wasn't that I went away and did an action. I all I did was set the intention, and then I thought, great, it's sunny. I'm going for a walk, because that was the best feeling thing. And when I got to the coast, I thought, oh, I was going to ring my colleague. So I rang her there, because I said, once I walk from the cliff onto the beach, I've no signal. And she told me then, she said, great, ring me when you get back, because I've got this information from the Chinese. And it was just, yes. And I know it happens each time I raise my vibe by, going for a walk on the beach. It feels fantastic.
well, that's a very good point, right? In being ease and flow, is it you if you choose to believe and I always say experience it for yourself, but to give yourself permission that you can actually enjoy your life, like going for a walk like Rosaria, for taking a break, being able to rest in bed. We talked about last week, right? That you're able to stay in,
Yeah.
is that you are allowed to care for yourself and love yourself and enjoy your life, and your desires of your heart are coming true. It's a it's
Yeah.
a it's a belief system in the sense that yes, it can be that easy if you're open to receiving it. And then it becomes like, wow, that
Mm,
happened just like that. And I was on the beach.
yes. And it's that whole thing, because I notice so much, especially in the media, that people feel they have to justify what they have by hard work. And I've known for some time that hard work isn't it. I've known for so long that hard work isn't it. Um, that's the effort you're putting in. And once I've dropped that, but actually putting that into practice, allowing yourself to be easy around it is can I'm searching for the word, not challenging. Take some practice. Yes.
Yeah. Like it was 1991 that I gave up the hard work. Okay.
Yeah.
So I do realize if I look back over that time, yes, there was that first thing. You have all these little conversations that are still around you. Like it's supposed to be hard, or it's supposed to be stressful, or you're supposed to be doing. And then there was that whole thing about, you got to take action. Well, you got to take action, but you want to take action that works in your favor.
You
And
want to take inspired action.
yeah. And and I know that there's a difference between manifesting something and manifesting something for your highest and best good,
Yes.
right? Because we can all create, but the question is it really for your highest and best good? And learning how to, flow with that and joyfully express it. It's like, it's decadent. It's like eating a tray of brownies.
Yes. Yeah, and it's finding yourself thinking like, "Ooh, I shouldn't eat a whole raspberry tart."
Right.
And I'm thinking, why not? If this is what feels good,
Yep.
I do it. Yeah.
Can you read Diana's comment there?
Oh, I see the ocean is so calming.
That's from when
Yes.
Diana loves the ocean. She's down in Alabama. She loves to go down to the Gulf in Florida.
Oh, brilliant.
So just
Wonderful.
connecting the two, and you're walking. Is it the North Sea?
The North Sea and the the winds, not the winds, the winter tides, that's it, have been so strong. They've actually removed the concrete step.
Wow.
We have two sets of steps down to the beach because where I am, it's a cliff,
Yeah.
and the wood ones are okay, but the concrete ones, the bottom layer has been washed away, and I
Wow.
just found that out yesterday.
Now, just for a little bit of geography here, so people and education. So North Sea, and what is your temperature really in the wintertime usually?
Well, I was in the water was 8 degrees Celsius on Sunday. I was swimming in the water then,
So that's
and
about just
it was
50,
cold.
50 for you, Diana, right? Because Americans still do the Fahrenheit system. The rest of the world does Celsius.
Yeah.
But okay, and then what about temperature outside?
Yesterday it was actually 10, so that was quite mild. It was very windy though, but the temperature was 10.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're having a mild day here today. 2 days ago it was negative 19, and today it's 9 degrees.
Gosh.
We had the swoosh, so everything's melted.
Yes. Yeah.
So, following your role, what is your favorite role to play now?
My favorite role is being wonderful. When I am wonderful, when I feel wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
because I was thinking that, I just love just being. It just feels great.
Mm-hmm.
And just doing what I'm inspired to do. So I've been inspired this last few days to do my old shiatsu stretches, which I'm really enjoying before I go and do a meditation. And it's been great. And I used to do things like that as a discipline.
Right.
And when my shiatsu teacher, I did those stretches every day for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people in our group did them. And then our shiatsu teacher one day shocked us all by saying, right, you have to stop doing the stretches. I went, what? But that's my structure. That's my start
Right.
to the day. That's my comfort blanket.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us something simpler to do, which was a visualization of moving a ball of energy, the pearl of energy around your system.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such a shock having that taken away, like having a rug pulled from under you. And so I had resistance to doing them. I thought, hang on, it's okay to do them. You don't have to not do them forever. So I've really been enjoying doing that. And again, it's following the flow. And I've been getting up quite early. And then today I slept in. I didn't get up till 9:30.
Beautiful.
And it just felt right. And last night I rang a friend and said, I've seen Jumanji's on, and we went to see that. And at first she was a little bit grumpy. She said, oh, I don't know, I've had a bad call. And I said, it's okay if you don't want to go. I'll go anyway.
Right.
And then she said, okay, I'm coming. And she really enjoyed it. We were just laughing out loud at it because it was just so funny. And I thought it was such a great film because it's about role play. And so the players inhabit their avatars' bodies.
Okay.
And it was just so great seeing that we can be whatever we choose. It's a really fun film, and I'm in love with The Rock, with Dwayne Johnson. I just thought, I've always gone for intellectual, academic, funny types, but now I just think he's so sweet, such a hunk, and so physical.
So, The Rock, if you're hearing this, okay, and you want to make a wish come true, just head over. Next time you're over there dropping in London and you need a little vacation, there's a nice little place by the sea.
A little beach spot, yes.
Well, that's it. It's really enjoying it and giving yourself permission and believing that you can. And I think that's just it. As you continue to step forward and follow your bliss, then you're demonstrating by your life and that as an example. I think it's an energy that you're putting in by following your bliss, just like myself, is that you give permission in a sense energetically that everyone else starts to do that. And I see that wave of transformation happening in the world, that people are like, yes, I get to have my life the way I want. It's going to be completely different than my parents. You know, I'm getting to choose, and it's a great, great time to be in the world. So I'm looking forward to, do we have a...
I don't have a song, but I have a thought today.
Okay.
we can do that if you like. But one thing that my mentor said was, she said, for a while I did this practice of you are the energy of the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And she said, look at the 5 wealthiest people you know, mm-hmm. and focus on that in relation to money. And I realized wealth for me has a different definition, because I know someone who has a lot of cash, but she doesn't feel wealthy. And I know somebody who feels wealthy, but may not have the cash flow at the moment, but lives an abundant life. And so that's who I'm focusing on spending my time with. And this is one of the calls that I'm keeping going, because I've said no to a couple of things, because I realized how much I'm giving of myself, which I haven't really acknowledged before. And I've just said, okay, I'm focusing on abundance and wealth, because it actually energizes me.
Oh, for sure.
Because I feel so fine. Yes, I feel so fine. In my body, yes, in my body, yes, in my body and mind. In my body, yes, in my body, yes, body, spirit, and mind.
Oh, I love the harmony there. That's a fabulous way to end it. Then become committed to following your bliss and unattached to your roles.
Yes.
I love you. See you
next.
Have
a fabulous week and roll those rolls around.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for joining. Diana, bye.
Bye. Bye.